Good morning, everyone. It's really my tremendous honor to have this opportunity to do this panel discussing with my three teachers and the mentors. I will do a very brief introduction of the three amazing scholars, famous computer scientists. I started to my immediate left, Professor Raj Reddy, in '94 Turing Award winner. I always very proud to say that Raj got his Turing Award when I was his student. Then to Raj's left is Professor Manuel Blum, also professor at Carnegie Mellon. Amazing teacher, amazing scholar, '95 Turing Award winner. Then to our very left, Professor Andy Yao of Tsinghua University, 2000 Turing Award winner. So today we have this opportunity here to hear from three of them about the future of AI, maybe a little bit about the past of AI, Raj, and also what we are going to think about in this era of AI governance. So I'm just going to start with Raj. Raj, your entire career is about AI. And in fact, I'm going to tell people a little secret, that is the very word of artificial intelligence, or AI, was actually coined by your advisor, John McCarthy, in 1956, I would say, in 1956 at the Dartmouth conference. So your citation of your Turing Award, winning Turing Award, was actually about building large-scale AI systems. So Raj, you have been also thinking about lately about the promise and the perils of AI. Why don't you share with us, what in your mind, what worries you about AI?
As I listened to the discussions, I was amazed, happy to see everyone concerned about the problems and the governance and the risks and the safety and all the other things. No one has spent any time on what should we be doing to use AI in every field of endeavor. The way you want to think about AI is it is primarily a tool for enhancing the mental capabilities of human beings. No matter who you are, you should be able to do what you're trying to do a factor of 10 or 100 faster than you're now. The question is, how is that going to happen? What do we need to do? What research do we need to do? What investments do we need to make in every field of endeavor? That's not happening. The second is, I think United Nations speakers have mentioned this, capacity building. Right now, our educational system is not geared to educate future generations who are AI savvy, AI experienced, know how to use AI to do their job. We can't solve everybody else's problems, but we can actually train every person to do their job better. The question is, how will that happen?
Thank you, Raj. I'd like to go to Manuel about a very important aspect of AI that you have been studying in the last several years. That is this mysterious thing called consciousness, conscious AI. Manuel, would you like to tell us more what you have been doing?
Thank you very much, Harry. So let me just mention that my thesis advisor was Marvin Minsky, and my mentor was Dr. Warren S. McCulloch, who together with Pitts defined the neuron. So I'm very fortunate to have them. And I'd like to also say that I got into trying to understand the mind when I was in second grade. My teacher told my mother that I might be able to get through high school, but I'd never get to college. That bothered my mother, but it didn't bother me as much as I asked my dad, what can I do to be smarter? And I bothered him a lot, and after a while he told me, if you understood what's in your head, you could be smarter. And I thought, that's a great idea. So I'm very lucky that work on consciousness has been going on now for the last 20 years. It's been really thriving. We're beginning to understand more about how the brain works, and it's okay nowadays to work on consciousness. When I told McCulloch I wanted to work on consciousness, he told me, this man who was so wonderful in every way and so encouraging and positive, told me, you will not work on consciousness. That was 1958. Nowadays, it is possible to work on consciousness, and consciousness actually gives us an idea how to build an AGI. So Lenore Blum and I have created a model of consciousness, which we call the Conscious Turing Machine, CTM. And this CTM is based in part on the work of Turing. It gets from Turing the idea that you try to build a very simple model for what it is you want to understand. And that's how Turing built his Turing machine, the first computer. Our work is also based on what the neuroscientists tell us. Bernie Bars came up with a model for what's going on in our head called the called the theater model. This has been very important for me because when I was in 4th grade, I was trying to figure out what's in my head, and I couldn't get to it. And when I heard about the theater model, I realized that's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. It's something that can be explained to someone in the 4th grade, what's going on. Shall I?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so what's going on in your head? The theater model tells you that you should view what's in your head as a theater like this, with a huge audience of experts listening to what's going on the stage. Someone on the stage is asking a question or giving a thought or giving an answer to whatever. This is broadcast to all of the audience members. And consciousness occurs when all of the audience members hears that conscious thought that's being broadcast. The reason I go into this is because the model really does tell you how to get a large number of processors working together. We have 10 million cortical columns in our brain, 10 million, each with 1,000 neurons. That's the 10 billion neurons in our brain. And these processors, these 10 million processors, are hearing what's going on the stage and then responding to it. The wonderful thing about this model is that it suggests how to do all sorts of things. And I'll just give you one example, and then
maybe I'll cut you short here, and we'll come
Sure.
back to that. I think, Manuel, your model, conscious, that Turing machine model, is the reason it's so interesting. I think as we study AI, is that after all, we started by trying to understand how human brains work, how it can mimic human intelligence. We'll try to come back to that, So I'd like to move on to Andy. Andy, you have done so many wonderful things in computer science field, and I know recently you focused a lot of your effort on AI, including this very important topic of AI governance. Actually, I saw earlier in Professor Xue's slides, it showed one of your papers recently you wrote with Joshua Bengio, Jeff Hinton, and Daniel Kellerman, really thinking hard about the governance. Andy, can you share more, your thoughts, why, we are talking about this now so urgently?
Harry, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here, especially seeing two old friends here. We have a chance to chat. And I think this morning we already have seen quite a bit of explanation of what is the potential risks of AI and how should we govern it. And so what I want to do is first just say a few words about these risks. And then I'm going to tell you why professionally I am interested in the question of the AI governance. And I think roughly the AI risks come from three parts. The first one can be just described as an extended and elevated version of cyber risks. Because with the ability of AI, every risk in the traditional data and the cyber security sense is going to be magnified. And if we think right now managing the data security is difficult, I think that is going to be 100 times more difficult. And the second type of risk is the unintended societal risk, and such as exactly because AIs are so powerful and could be used in so many different ways, it has the chance of very much disrupting the existing social structure, and all in a very short time. So, for example, it has been suggested that that AI could create widespread unemployment in the future. And the third part, actually, I think is the most intriguing part, and also having something to do with what Manuel has said, namely that the so-called existential risks, mainly that, well, of course, we have faced existential risk before. I think that when the first train, the steam engine comes along, I think that there were people who worried about it, and more recently, the nuclear threats, and I think all these are very legitimate. And this time, another new powerful technology that is changing the world, and this time is destructive power. It could be even more dangerous than the nuclear and the biological one. And so now, of course, all these risks really involves many experts in order to solve. I think not just the scientists, but actually it could involve the government and involve the lawyers and involves the economists. Actually, I think that in almost every profession is involved. Now, I'm going to say why, as a computer scientist who spent his life doing theoretical things like Manuel, why I'm suddenly interested in this question. Actually, it's twofold. I'm interested in the first category and the third category. And the first category, as an elevated cybersecurity question, I think Manuel and I, we are kind of professional cryptographers. And so I think this is an amazingly interesting subject from that point of view. And because the added component AI, it's sort of unexplainable, and we don't have a handle on it mathematically. And that creates a challenge for us to develop a new cryptography theory in order to accommodate it. It's just beginning. I think that right now, the AI participated cybersecurity is in a very primitive stage. It's very similar to what happened 40, 50 years ago. And we need experts and people to organize and so on. So that's a first. And the third one that also, I'm interested in it because it has something to do with the computability and the destructive power of AI from that point of view comes exactly because if it's so powerful. It is a concrete manifestation of what we computational complexity theorists had known about in the theoretical sense, because we all know more computing power gets you more knowledge and more wisdom. And we can construct in a theoretical way. There are questions and so on. But I think that none of us had expected in our lifetime. We actually seen computational power can solve so many problems that we didn't know how to solve before. And so that's scary as a professional computational theorist. And I like to understand it. And so the question really is, in plain language, is that we certainly know, we have certainly found a way to create a new species that is many, many more times more powerful than we are. And are we sure we can live with it? And certainly, if we don't do anything, we are going to be eliminated. I mean, there's absolutely no question about it, whether through the intrinsic nature of the computing machine or through the manipulation of bad, malicious actors. I think that will be on a destruction. And so the intriguing and probably is the most profound questions I have seen in my life as a computer scientist is how can we figure out to get the best of both worlds. On the one hand, we sort of keep it under control because we designed it after all. But on the other, and on the other hand, we don't want it to ruin us. And this trade-off is very, very difficult exactly because what Turing said, that we couldn't predict. It's undecidable what a machine can do when it has enough computational power. And that's why I'm interested in it. And I think what Manuel has said about his theory, I think this is the kind of thing that have great connection with this problem.
Thank you so much, Andy. Raj, listening to two theoretical computer scientists talking about how excited they are getting into AI, I am very amused, because when I got to CMU in computer science, we had 4 areas. We had the theory, we had the programming language, we had system, then we had AI. AI is just one of 4. It's not really the biggest. But now, Raj, everyone is in AI. So it shows your vision and the foresight. Raj, I really want to ask you a question that I was very, very fortunate to be your student going in CMU. And you always, full of, the audacious ideas. Not only, you were a computer science professor, you created the first robotics institute. You created the first language technology institute. You created the first department of machine learning. Is that all those new areas, you pushed forward. What are your new ideas? What are the new institutions we should push for? And in CMU or in Shanghai?
So in order to get to the new ideas, first we need to understand every technology creates both opportunities and problems. If you take automotive industry, 100 years ago, if we said there are going to be 1 million deaths every year because of automotive technology, therefore, we better regulate it to hell, or whatever, that would not be the right thing to have done. And I think we don't want to go overboard, throw the baby with the bathwater, of saying there are all these other problems, we need to solve them. But I haven't heard anyone say, what should we be doing positively? In fact, the CEO of Synopsys said something that is close to what I think we should be doing, namely, every engineer can do better. What should they be doing, or how should we train them to do whatever they're doing better? How can they do whatever they're doing in a day in an hour? That requires a lot of investment, a lot of research, a lot of contributions. I hope we'll get there because I don't want us to kind of get carried away with all the problems and not invest in the opportunities. My opportunity is every person on the planet can be 10 times more productive. That means our global GDP will go from $100 trillion to 1,000 trillion. How do we get there? That is my challenge.
Thank you, Raj. I know we're running out of time, but I really want to ask Manuel one more question. In fact, I'm going to tell the audience another secret I'm going to share. It's all about the Turing Awards today. Manuel, you are such a wonderful teacher. Of course, we measure the success of a teacher, of course, is by how successful the students are. I believe you are the Turing Award winner with the most students winning Turing Awards. Now here I have to apologize to Raj. Raj's students are not doing very well, so we're still trying. But no, I leave you with the last question here that what did you do? In China, with just Andy spending all his lifetime here educating next generation of students, and there's something we can learn from you, Manuel.
Thank you very much, Harry. I'm very lucky that my students are all smarter than I am. And that has, and I'm not kidding when I say that, I have learned a lot from them. And it's just being interested and learning from them. Maybe the only other thing I can think of here is that I'm not so embarrassed when I don't understand or know something. And so on rare occasions, when somebody has a proof and there's some part of it that I don't understand, I'll say I don't understand that. And a few times I have found what was wrong, the bug in the proof. I would like to go back to one other thing, which is, again, the CTM, which is, yes, okay, 1 minute. Okay, the CTM, it's, the wonderful thing about the CTM is that it organizes these 10 million processors in an interesting way. All the models of consciousness that I know of assume that there is a central executive at the top. And the central executive at the top does not work because that central executive doesn't know what you know, or what you know, doesn't know where your expertise lies, doesn't know how much time you have, doesn't know enough to be able to decide when a task needs to be done, who should do it. And so the wonderful thing about the CTM, unlike all the other models I know of consciousness, there is no central executive. There's a different way to get people organized and to get the most important information up to the stage. And it's a very exciting thing that there is something different from having a president or a conductor at the top.
Yeah, thank you, Manu. I encourage everyone to read your papers and really get onto this CTM thing. I'd like to leave it to Andy for any final words about the future AI.
Well, I think that we are at an exciting historical time. The solution of the Turing test, I think, gives us all hope. And I think that, as Raj said, that we shouldn't overestimate the security aspect. We really should look at the beneficial aspect. And I'm sure using Manuel's words at Berkeley, I'm sure we can do it.
Thank you, Andy. I think we actually could use another hour at least, to continue our discussion, but we only have that much time. I'd like to, if you don't mind, just summarize a little bit of what Manuel said about educating great students, because you actually had at least 3 Turing Award winner students, right? 3 or 4? 3? Yeah. So I would like to summarize what if I understand, I am going to say that in Chinese, in Chinese we say, 就我们都讲这个名师出高徒，这个 Blum 教授讲的是高徒出名师。I want to thank you all for your participation of this panel. Thank you, Raj, Manuel, and Andy. Thank you very much.